SAHUC Muslim is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Johannesburg South, agents for Mercedes-Benz cars, Mercedes-Benz vans, and Mercedes EQ.
The only Muslim-owned Mercedes-Benz dealership in Johannesburg.
Welcome back to Sabah Muslim Drive Time on Radio Islam International. Some of you may have seen the press release that was issued late last night by SAHUC. Some may have not, but we're going to unpack the big question that resulted from that press release. People want to know, does it now mean that the Saudi Kingdom and the Hajj Ministry in particular there doesn't want South Africans to come through the traditional method where you book with a travel operator or a Hajj agent? Is the system now going to be different? How different? Will it be similar to the European countries and many of the Western world countries that work through a Nusuk system? Or will it be all centralized now through SAHUC? That's the key issue that we unpack. And we welcome to the program SAHUC President Hafid Muaz Kasum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mulana, I trust that you are doing well, and wassalamu alaikum to the listeners of Radio Islam.
All well, alhamdulillah. So let's start with that question that I mentioned in my introduction. Is it now definitive? Is this what the Hajj Ministry wants in terms of a decision, or is it a suggestion that no more Hajj operators in the way that we have become accustomed to from the upcoming Hajj 1447?
Okay, so first and foremost, I think we just want to set the record straight on radio, live on Radio Islam. We are not moving to the Nusuk platform as South Africa. All right. In the past, as everyone is accustomed to, with regards to Hajj, travel operators from South Africa that were accredited by SAHUC used to obtain pricing for housing in Mecca, Medina, Azizia, catering, as well as transportation in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Then SAHUC used to receive the camp pricing, the Tanazzul pricing, the ministry associated costs, and we used to share that in the public domain as per what we receive from the ministry in real value. So you had two different pricing sectors. The operator used to take the two together and put out a package. That is how it used to work up until 2025 Hajj season. Going forward, what the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah has indicated to SAHUC is the role of the responsibility of the travel operator from South Africa is no longer going to be possible for the travel operator to secure the housing in Mecca, Medina, Azizia, catering and transportation. These activities will now be facilitated by the Saudi service provider company. So for example, this year we used a service provider called Masharik Al-Masiyah. Going forward, whichever service provider SAHUC will select, that service provider will now be obtaining the pricing from the hotels for transportation as well as for the 5 days of Hajj, and they will submit that to SAHUC, and SAHUC will have a choice. Choice number one is SAHUC would use the exact cost from the service provider and publish it to the public domain as a Hajj package. Or what we have engaged operators last night, we've asked each operator to come up with a business plan based on these new rules and regulations and inform SAHUC how they can assist the pilgrims as well as SAHUC going forward. But what the ministry have indicated, let's say, for example, 5 operators come up with a business plan. Those 5 operators, if SAHUC accept the business plans that they put together, will have to fall under SAHUC. There will no longer be a local standee for a travel operator on a Nusuk Masar platform. So if any operator is going to be assisting SAHUC with any of the Hajj matters, they will have to fall under the SAHUC banner and the SAHUC name. When we go to Saudi Arabia, there will be a SAHUC representative and no longer part and parcel of their company name and entity. That is what the ministry has put forward. We received these guidelines last month already. We engaged the ministry to get clarity. An official letter was given to SAHUC this past week. We had discussions with the ministry as well as the service provider, and this is their vision for South Africa, that going forward, the Hajj mission, which is SAHUC, will be responsible for A to Z for all the pilgrims of South Africa pertaining to Hajj. But what we have done as SAHUC, we've opened up the doors back to the operators and said, come up with a business plan and tell us how you can assist based on these new rules and regulations, because you no longer have the buying power. That is now taken away from you. And when you come up with your business proposal, for example, if you're going to take the pricing we give you and mark up 20% or 5% or 10%, this is where we will discuss and negotiate with the operators to tell them, look, sorry, your proposition is too high. SAHUC can do it cheaper and we're going to move ahead. Or we may get the operator to assist us and then we will take the pilgrims collectively under the SAHUC banner, inshallah. The other key thing.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Afzal.
Now, the other key thing, we just want to inform the pilgrims, nothing is going to change from a service delivery point of view. For example, spiritual leaders still going to remain. Mission workers still going to remain. That part of our service delivery, we have to improve. But as a minimum, SAHUC will not reduce any of the services that were rendered to the pilgrims in the past. We have to improve and expand on it, inshallah.
So, going forward, right, SAHUC will negotiate with the Saudi Hajj provider and there'll be a cost that will be determined. Then it's up to SAHUC whether you want to then facilitate the Hajj. Obviously, that would mean you would have to expand in terms of your own human resources, which will be an additional cost. Or rather than doing that, you can use the experience of existing Hajj operators who must, put forward business plans, and you'll make that final decision at that particular stage, whether you absorb the cost of the operations now of managing the Hajj for South African Hujjaj, or you bring into the equation one of the Hajj operators. The bigger question then would be, is Hajj likely to become cheaper or more expensive, or to remain the same? Because now one would assume, based on your explanation, you're more at the mercy of whatever the Saudi Hajj operator is going to determine in terms of pricing.
Very good question, Malana. At this point in time, we don't have any indication of costing with regards to the upcoming Hajj season. We have engaged our current service provider, who we have utilized this past year. What he has agreed on is we should send a delegation to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia within the next month or just after a month. So collectively, we can go together to the hotels that we select for our pilgrims and negotiate the pricing together. Yes, there's going to be a fee. And at this point in time, none of the service providers in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have agreed with the ministry as to the percentage they may put on the pricing that they receive from the hotels. Some service providers may put a very minimal price increase. Some may do it at cost because they want the business from the Hajj missions. So currently, as we speaking right now, it is very difficult to confirm or say the pricing will come down. From a SAHUC perspective, that is our vision. That is something we intend to do, inshallah, is to make sure we try and be competitive and bring the pricing down for our pilgrims. But what we need to understand, most importantly, is our rand versus the rial is not in favor. It is very weak. It is almost 5-1 at times. So that aspect we need to be cognizant of. But in terms of pricing and the way pricing has been done, we are probably going to change it. We're probably going to look at different alternative and methods the way it was done in the past. And we're going to try our utmost best to reduce the pricing. And we will play open cards. We're not going to be hiding anything away from the public. As we get it, we will inform the public exactly how pricing is going to work, how the rules and regulations are going to work, how our accreditation is going to work. We're going to keep the public in the loop all the time, as and when we get official communication. So right now, we don't have anything official. We've spoken to the ministry, we've spoken to the service provider. Nobody has pricing to give us at this point in time. But the moment we do get it, we'll start engaging and we'll try our utmost best to bring the pricing down, inshallah.
Now, in terms of this new system, right, is it a recommendation from the Hajj ministry, or is this their decision? Is it final now that this is how it will have to be done from the next Hajj? And if that's the case, what kind of timelines are you looking at? Because normally towards the end of the calendar year, you would be releasing your first list of accredited Hujjaj, and by then they would need to know how to buy packages and how to make bookings.
Okay, so the moment Hajj completed this past year, we received a preliminary guideline from the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah. There was a lot of ambiguity and misinterpretation to the documentation that was received. We then had meetings with the ministry and we requested them to put it in writing because it gives everybody a clear indication of what is the way forward. They then sent an official letter last week, and in that letter, it basically spells out that the obligation resides with the service provider company and the Hajj mission to bring the pilgrims and to ensure that they take care of all the necessary logistics in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So it's an official letter from the ministry guiding us to the way forward. The ministry has indicated that larger countries with larger quotas, perhaps they can look at a split quota where the mission brings a portion and a portion goes on to Nusuk, not just to the operators. So the ministry have got different rules and regulations for the larger countries with larger quota, but for the smaller countries, it seems like their vision and plan is to have the Hajj mission bring all the pilgrims. They want to deal with one entity, one organization that looks after the pilgrims and the well-being and can provide service delivery for the pilgrims of that country. At this point in time, we haven't spoken to other countries or got information with regards to their letters. We can only speak with regards to what we have received and the way forward from South Africa perspective for our pilgrims.
So final question, right, Havisap, you explained earlier on that the new system means now that you engage with the Saudi Hajj operator, you get a pricing, then you've got a decision to make. Either you handle the operational aspects of the Hajj, which previously was handled by the travel operator, and obviously then there's an operational cost that SAHUC will have to levy on top of that costing, or you've given the Hajj agents an opportunity to put a business proposal forward, and if they can do it at a similar costing, then their experience and expertise will be used, but they can't do it under their name. So it won't be TWF, it won't be Khidmatul Awam, it won't be Yusra like we had this year. They will be effectively working under SAHUC and with SAHUC. That question then would be, where does this leave Hajj operators, especially the three that did Hajj this year? One would assume that they've got permanent staff, that they've got offices, they heavily invested. Does it mean this is the end of the road for them? They've got to focus on Umrah, and there's speculation already that the Hajj operators at some point may be removed from the Umrah equation as well.
Well, it's difficult for us to answer that question. Like we discussed with the operators last night, the door is open. We are not closing the door of opportunity for the operators to still trade in the Hajj industry, which will benefit the pilgrims. But ultimately, if they come up with ridiculous proposals or proposals that are very expensive, unfortunately, they will be closing their own door with regards to the Hajj industry. One needs to understand Hajj is only 2,500 pilgrims per annum. Umrah for South Africa is 50,789 South African pilgrims who go for Umrah on an annual basis. So from a business perspective, from a staff perspective, one can understand that these operators have their staff predominantly to look after Umrah and not for Hajj. Because for 50,000 pilgrims an annum, you're going to have X amount of staff in your office. For 2,500 pilgrims, which is approximately 2 months in a year, you're going to have a very small percentage of staff. But that decision, we've given the opportunity back to the travel operators to come back with propositions. Right now, it's difficult for us to answer that question. We've informed the travel operators. When we review your business proposition, at that point in time, inshallah, we will make those decisions. So the door is open for them. It's not closed. And it's difficult for us to say what they're going to put forward and how it's going to affect them and their business. It is up to them to come through and put a business plan which will benefit their business entity as well as the pilgrims and for SAHUC, inshallah, going forward.
Just quickly before we conclude, this opportunity of providing a business plan, is it only for the 3 Hajj operators that did Hajj this year, or all Hajj operators, or all agents, in other words?
So we invited 20 travel operators last night to the meeting based on the last 3 to 4 years applications that we have received. So those are the common travel operators in the industry. We did not limit it. It's open to the travel operators. They were all on the call. Some couldn't make it for whatever reason. Some of them are out of the country. We have recorded the meeting. We will share the recording to the operators that were invited, so everyone has a copy of what was discussed last night in the meeting, inshallah.
Absab, Jazakallah for your time.
Shukran jazilan, Mulana, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's quickly get the headlines and then we'll unpack some of what was discussed. After that, you can send us your thoughts on 072 786 1548.
News headlines.
A blitz of what's current on Radio Islam International.